everyone, I'm Loren Doucette. Thanks for being here today. I am here to talk about the importance of sketchbooks and the importance of working in your sketchbook every single day. And I originally started this when I heard of Paul Klee's line, not a day without a line. So that means that no matter what, you make a line in your sketchbook. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be precious. I think that the preciousness of making art and art that really is good kind of ruins the creative flow. So I think that it's really important to get in this pattern of using a sketchbook and just making really little things if that's the way you start. So back in the day, I used to get really upset with not making big paintings. You know, I want to make big paintings, but I needed to start small because that was too big of a jump from nothing to a big painting. And so I learned how to make paintings the size of a postage stamp every day in my sketchbook, and then to take the preciousness out of it and just experiment. What am I curious about? What do the lines look like that excite me? What are the colors that excite me today? What are the mediums that excite me? Some days you want to work in crayon. You know, you don't want to be so serious. So I used crayon for a whole sketchbook. You just go through different periods in your life, and the sketchbooks are amazing recordings of these different phases in your life. So today I'm going to show you a few of the sketchbooks that I've been working with over the years, and a lot of them, this is one of them. This is colored pencil. This is just an idea of, you know, every day I would just do a little one. And these are a little more involved because I had been doing it for a number of years. But at the beginning, you know, it was more very loose and with a ballpoint pen and whatever I had around. You can start on the telephone, whatever it is. So anything goes. This I worked on for a number of days. This is an example of just little postage size ideas. And there's lots of different ways, you know, this is unfinished. There's a lot of unfinished things that go on in the sketchbook. This is just playful. It's a little color study at the top that I started and never finished. That's okay. Sketchbooks are perfect for starting an idea, jotting it down, never finishing it, flipping to the next page the next day. And then over time you look back and you say, oh, remember that, and it's really great. So my favorite sketchbook is probably Nature Sketch, if anyone is familiar with that brand. I love the thickness of this paper. It can handle any medium. It can handle graphite, paint, pastel, charcoal. You know, I can get into some pastel there. It can handle watercolor. And the other thing is that when you work in the sketchbook every day, even just little bits, it's kind of like a yoga student showing up to their mat every day. It's just being in the practice, getting your mind and your body and your spirit wrapped around the idea, the connection between the art making and the tools. It's like a baseball player who every day he catches the ball, he plays, you know, he practices catching and throwing and putting, you know, and batting. And so when it's game time, he's practiced. So when we work with our sketchbooks, even though we don't have an idea of being serious, it's this idea of being ready and being in the materials and having the spirit of, I love doing this. I'm just playing and I'm doing something I love and I'm being curious. And you're also practicing this freedom of thinking and doing. Think, do, where you take the judgment out. And that's really important in the art making process. The other idea that I wanted to share with you all is sometimes, we need a little help. So we might need inspiration from photography or from artists throughout history. So when I was at a period where I really didn't know what I wanted to paint next, I was looking for a new series, but I knew that I was really inspired by Nicholas de Stael. And so I got a bunch of photographs of a bunch of his work, and I put it on one side of the sketchbook. So here's a photograph of his work, and then I just played with it up above. And it was kind of like a mindless exercise for me. And I did it throughout the whole book. And this is his work, and this is mine with just crayon and some ink. Not a lot of lines, not a lot of work, but just looking at an artist that inspires me and playing with it. It keeps you in the mindset and of where you want to be as a creator. And again, it's really important to have the things around you that really light you up. The artists that light you up, the materials, the colors, the textures. That's what the sketchbook is all about. It's just bliss. It really is just playing. And it's also like a break from life. It's really beautiful. So lastly, what the sketchbooks have led to is more of, after using the sketchbook every day, I would go and I practiced a watercolor every day. And the watercolors were small, but I set up these little pieces of paper on the table, and I had every day I'd get up and I'd have my watercolors set up, and I'd tape about 3 of these 4x6 watercolor pieces of paper on the table. And every day when I got up, I had my coffee and I just put the paint across the paper. It was all set up for me the night before. That's really important. You want to make it easy for yourself when you're tired. So, the little postage size sketches in my sketchbook led to a little bit of bigger individual works. And then these led to more experimentation with, next was alcohol ink. I had never used alcohol ink before, but I was really into just, using a lot of color directly. And so I worked just in the same way where every day in the morning, I just set up pieces of paper. And these, I used Yupo paper, and I just put them out with my alcohol inks, and they were just playing. Blobs of color, blobs of color. But the beautiful thing about all this, really being in the color, is that you're immersing yourself in the thing that you love. Again, and for me, it's very much about color. And these led to bigger paintings. And it's really amazing how, these small ideas that we kind of mindlessly do, whether we're on the telephone or we're not taking it that seriously because it's so small, how it leads to the bigger endeavors that take much longer. And so it all starts with this freedom and this doodling. Here's the sketchbook that happened with all crayons. And then you can see how these long people happened. And I just want to show how that led to a really big painting involving the flowers and the long figures. Thank you for watching. I hope that this inspires you to not go a day without a line. I know that it really helps me to stay on task, and know that a lot of other people are doing this too. And good luck. Happy painting.